Welcome back everyone to my ADHD guide to Gamma. Now, I would say that this episode is going to be focused on artifacts, toolkits, and upgrades, but based on the title, I don't think I can guarantee that. Hey, so Future Veno here. I completely forgot to talk about toolkits, so let me go ahead and give you a little breakdown on that. So there will be white stashes and there will be yellow stashes. Now, the yellow stashes are the only ones that can have toolkits. Now, as you can see with the graph on screen, Great Swamps, Cordon, Rostok, and Meadows can only have basic tools. So if you get a yellow stash from there, just know that you will only be getting basic tools. Now, keep in mind, this is for Stalker Gamma, not EFP. EFP has completely different chances for this. Dark Valley, Garbage, Darkscape, Dead City, which is all the way up here, and Agroprom, which is down here, have a very low chance of advanced tools, but you can still find them. Now, Wild Territory here, Yantar here, Truck Cemetery over here, and Army Warehouses up here. These all have a medium to high chance of advanced tools. And then once we start getting to the upper area like Red Forest, and then you got Lamont, Jupiter, Zaton, and Radar, that's a low chance for expert tools. So, you know, keep in mind, even though it's a low chance, I have gotten them before. For example, I had a stash over here in Radar when I was going to raid the Brain Scorcher. It was the first yellow stash I opened, and it had expert tools. So it's not, you know, it is low, but it's not impossible. Now, all the way up north where we have the CMPP South, CMPP North, you've got Pripyat over here, you got Outskirts over here. These are all a high chance of getting expert tools. Well, technically it says medium to high, but I consider it high because I have gotten so many expert tools up north, like specifically in these areas. Anyways, that was just a little interjection because my ADHD brain completely forgot about that. Whoa, pause. Future Veno here. I somehow forgot to mention about gunsmithing tools and drug making kit. These are both tools that you can find in any yellow stash, period. The gunsmithing tools allows you to save money by not having to buy ammo. You can craft your own. And the medical one does the exact same thing for medicine. So now back to the video. Now, last time we left off, we were talking about stashes. This time I thought I'd kind of go over artifacts and why I don't exactly recommend going for them early game, but you can if you'd like. Depending on what mod pack you're playing, artifacts might be completely different. So keep that in mind. This is mainly for Gamma. Now, one of the things you're going to need right away is one of these lead line metal containers. You can buy them from most vendors, but if you can't find any, you can go to Sakharov in Yantar, which is located right here at this bunker. Now, not all artifacts, for example, this one, it does not have any radiation. However, this one is currently irradiating me at +2 millisieverts per second. So I have to put it in there to prevent myself from getting irradiated. But for now, let's just go ahead and open it, and let's just drop that for now. All right, so first off, how do you know that there's an artifact nearby? Well, in the top, as you see, it says Slammer Anomaly. And if I open my map, you'll see there's a giant circle. This only appears if you have areas turned on. Now, as you can see, these circles are where anomalies are. So this is the Slammer Anomaly. This over here is the Molten Lada Anomaly. Now, some artifacts are visible to the naked eye. Others are not, however. So, for example, I don't see any artifacts here, but that does not mean there isn't any. So first, you're going to click 6, and you're going to pull out your detector. So as you can hear, it's going to start beeping a lot. And as you can see, there is anomalies right here. We want to be very, very careful, but it looks like, oh, yep, see, we got too close to that one. And we're trying to figure out, oh, yep, I don't think we can get in here. So that is one issue. Let's see about approaching it from a different way. Yep, actually, we can see the artifact right there on the ground. Now, if it's in a spot that you can't get, I'll show you how to deal with it in a second. But, oh, we were able to get it. Nice. So let's run away. This is a sandstone. As you can see, it does not have any radiation applied to it, so we don't have to put it in here. So if an artifact is in an area where you can't go, sometimes, not always, but you should be able to shoot them away. See? You see how that's moving further back? So you can actually shoot them. I recommend a shotgun if you're going to be doing it. Now, just because you have this echo detector doesn't mean you can find all artifacts. There are higher tier artifacts, especially up north, that you will not be able to find unless you have an upgraded detector. So really quickly, I'm going to go over all the detectors. So this is the second one that most people get, which is honestly good enough for most people. This is a bear detector. So as you can see, it shows the direction at which the artifact is. So I can see, for example, that it's somewhere in this area. Now, using the bear detector, you can make either a Velas detector or a Grizzly detector. So here's these. Here's the Velas. Let's start with that. As you can see, the Velas does show where the artifact is on a little map, so we can tell that it's like right over there in that area. All right, so if we pull out the Grizzly, which is the other option, as you can see, it is basically similar to the bear detector. It shows you where it is. We can actually see it already right there. Now, finally, you have the Tier 4 Svarog detector. Now, the good thing about this is it shows where all the anomalies are and the artifact. So as you can see, that little red there is the artifact, and all those blue circles are the anomalies. So you can use this to kind of watch out. Now, for these anomalies right here, I'd rather just like throw my bolts to like make sure, even though I can see them. But so we can kind of, you know, go around and see if we can't grab. Wait, where did it go? Huh? Wait. Oh, there it is. Oh my god, I was like, I can't see it. So the game decided to crash, so we're back here, but that's okay. Now, returning to the artifact talk, you might be wondering why some have radiation and some do not. The ones that do not are called perk artifacts. As you can see, they have different perks. For example, this one allows a mighty mutant kick. This allows you to click F and kick a mutant, and if you stack them, if you have multiple down here, then you might actually be able to just kick things like a chimera. Now, I wouldn't risk kicking a chimera, but I guess you can do it. Actually, if we equip this real quick, can I run up to those flesh and kick them? Here, this might be a good demonstration. Or a very dumb one. All right, come here, come here. I'm spamming F, come on. Come here, stop running. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to catch up. Oh, there's a boar. Oh, no. Okay, I'm gonna climb up here real quick. All right, I spawned in a second one. Let's see, is that enough? There we go, look. Ooh, dude. So yeah, so with 2 of these, you can kick boars, which is quite hilarious. I'm sure you can kick flesh too with 2. Now, the non-perk artifacts are these. They can give you certain bonuses or certain detriments. Now, the issue with the non-perk artifacts is the fact that you have to repair them. So this is at 25%. In order to get it to 100%, we have to find another jellyfish and basically combine them together with a tool that I'll be talking about relatively shortly. If you hold down control, you can see what bonuses they would give if it was at 100%. So as you can see right now at 25%, it only gets 2% rupture resistance, but maxed out, it would be 8%. All right, so let's talk about the tool that allows you to combine artifacts. That is called an artifact melter. You can get it from stashes or you can buy it from Professor Sakharov. Once again, he is over here in the bunker in Yantar. He's down here in this mobile science lab. Now with this, as you can see, it only has a certain amount of uses, but what you're gonna do is right click and you are going to empower. And if you combine 2 together, for example, I have 2 jellyfish, one's at 25, one's at 22, combine them together, boom, it's now at 47. Now you might have seen this other option, fuse. Fuse is how we craft better artifacts. So as you can see, we go here and then to artifacts and we can see what all we can craft. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind about Gamma is you need recipes for almost everything. So that's why we can only see the recipes for these certain artifacts at the moment. Now, if you're not into the whole recipe thing, what you can do is when booting up the game in the launcher, you can click debug mode. And what that will allow you to do is click F7. And then you can go to item spawner, and then in item spawner under items and notes, you can spawn in all of these recipe books and just go ahead and read them. So for example's sake, I spawned in these recipes. Now you can either find these off of dead stalkers. I think you can find them in stashes too, but the main way is just by buying them from a vendor. So let's just go ahead and quickly read all of these. These are artifact related ones. And now if I go to fuse, it shows all the artifacts and all the recipes. Now, I really do wish you could see the recipe without having to buy the recipe. I know that sounds a bit stupid, but sometimes I want to know, for example, let's say this backpack, okay? You know, what supplies do I need? And I can't figure that out until I buy the recipe for it. Let's look at artifacts for a second. So we do have a jellyfish, and one of the artifacts that people recommend late game is this. It's called a full empty. As you can see, it gives a ton of bonuses like rupture resistance, ballistic resistance, explosive. It's really good. At the end game, a lot of people run a full empty, which is right here. They'll run a compass, they'll run the Volat Emerald, and typically it's Heart of the Oasis and then one other of your choice. But as you can see, in order to make a full empty, we need an empty, a shell, a snowflake. Now a shell you can find pretty easily. It's a low tier artifact that you can find in most electrical anomalies. Snowflake is a bit more difficult to find, but I find it more often up north. And as you can see, we need an empty. Now the empty we can actually craft if we have a jellyfish and a meat chunk. So let's start looking for meat chunks. Let's just go around to the different anomaly fields and see what we can find. Now I will be using the base detector instead of a higher tier one just to show you what you would probably be doing in the early game. So here's the synapse anomaly. As you can see, a bunch of electricity. Yep, as you can see, sometimes artifacts just aren't there. There's no beeping whatsoever, so that means there is no artifact here. So let's turn around and go look for another one. Now, depending on your mod menu settings, you might be able to find artifacts out in the open, like anywhere, but by default in Gamma, that is not a thing. Now, one important thing to note is even though we didn't find an artifact at that anomaly earlier, that does not mean there will never be artifacts there. Every time there's an emission, and I'll show you what an emission looks like later, every time there's an emission, all artifacts on the map will reset or respawn. Now, of course, that doesn't guarantee there will be one there, but it's more likely to have one after a emission. Oh, I see a lot of boars, but I'm just gonna ignore them if they don't see me. Now, down here, it seems like there is an artifact. So let's see, it's beeping a lot, and it looks like, oh, right here, there we go. We found a pin, nice. And remember, at any time, you can go into your inventory, right-click, and click details, so we can see that this pin is used to craft lobster eyes. Now, unfortunately, there is no way to click on the lobster eyes to see what it's used for, so you're just gonna have to go here and check your crafting recipes. So checking our crafting recipes, we can now see that lobster and a ring will make a fireball. Now, since we are playing on an easier difficulty, the radiation isn't really affecting us much, but I can tell you if you're playing on hard and survivalist, you will need multiple of these lead line containers so that you can store these in here so it does not irradiate you. One thing I do actually recommend is dropping off all this stuff before you go artifact hunting. If it's not spontaneous and you do plan on going artifact hunting, I would just put everything away and only bring the essentials, bring a little bit of ammo, some food, some medicine, but leave everything else. What in the world are these guys doing here? Hello? What are these loners doing? What? Wait, what? Oh, okay, cool. Anyways, now I will mention this. Just because there's anomalies around does not mean artifacts can spawn there. For example, this is just a random anomaly in the middle of this field. That does not mean an artifact can be here. Artifacts are mainly in locations that are marked with one of these big circles. Now, it doesn't have to be. For example, we were just up here and we got an artifact there, but there is no circle there. So I would just kind of look around a bit. You kind of get used to, as the more you play, like where... Okay. New lesson. That is a controller. If you hear that noise, you want to get behind something because one attack early game can easily kill you. Now, I don't know if he can do that because we're on an easier difficulty or not. Let's see if we can spot him. There he is. He's behind that tree right there. Now, I'm going to drop a quick save because I actually want to show you what happens. So get ready for this. If he sees me, which he should, he's going to start doing this. And then, wait, what? Come on, do your thing. Yep, it zooms in on him and boom. You see the Psy in my bottom left above my health bar? It's lower. Now, if he does it again, it's going to be super low. Normally, this would kill you by now if you're on the hard difficulty, but since we're on easy, the third one will kill us. There we go. Now, you might have just thought, whatever, I'll run up to him and I'll hide behind that tree and I'll be good. No, you won't, because when you get close to him, let's try to get close to him real quick. He's doing that. Let's try to get close to him real quick. You'll see what happens. So I'm getting close, and then I'm within range. Let's try shooting him. As you can see, I can't shoot him. My gun, and boom. I killed myself. Now, as you can see, they are quite annoying. Your best bet, honestly, is going to be to, like, peek them, shoot them, run away like that so he doesn't attack you. Shoot him, run away. Just over and over again. I know it's kind of annoying, but that's your best bet. Oh, no. Gotta be careful. Wait, did I kill him? Hey, that killed him. All right, he's dead. Always remember to run up to the mutant and loot them. Let's see. Aw, his body had nothing. All right, so there's another artifact here. And now the one thing about chemical anomalies is even if you don't touch this green stuff, you will be slowly draining health. So keep that in mind. So as you can see, I'm not touching the green stuff. But if you look at my health on the bottom left, it is going down. So let's just run in as fast as we can. Wait, where is it? Huh? Oh, somewhere over here. And right there, grab it. It's a chain. So as you can see, chain is another one of the perk artifacts. It is not irradiating me at all. It gives you a passive small health and stamina regen, and for members of Sin, which we are definitely not, it will triple that. Now, most perk artifacts in the game aren't really good, and the main reason why is because we have pelts. And what I mean by that is when you kill a boar or a pseudo-giant or anything, they can drop a pelt, and these pelts give you different bonuses. You know what? Here's a boar. Let's see if we can't get a boar pelt. I forgot I'm using slugs. Also, what in the world? There's a random artifact on the ground right there, a generator. Okay, that's cool. And the boar's dead. Please give me a pelt. Nope, of course he wouldn't. It would have been really funny if he gave me one just to show off. I will really quickly try to get a pelt. There are a lot of flesh right here, so hopefully one of these guys will give me a pelt. I don't know why, actually, there's so many flesh here. I don't think I've ever seen this many flesh attack me in one area, so that's interesting. All right, so we killed a ton of them, so hopefully one of them will give me a pelt. And none of them have given me a pelt. That is very unfortunate. Now, just to show you real quick, these are all the pelts in the game. They will not come at 100% by default. A lot of the time, you'll get one at 60% or 40%. However, all of these are useful for their own individual things. For example, as you can see, this Bloodsucker skin mainly helps with bleeding control and health restoration, so that's nice. The one that's the most overpowered for most people is obviously the Pseudo-Giant hide. Now, if you haven't seen a Pseudo-Giant, I will show you one later. However, these guys are really tough to kill. However, their pelts, if you get them, are really good. As you can see, it minuses radiation, good rupture and ballistics and explosive resistance. Really nice overall. Now, if I can get Lurker Hide, I always run Lurker Hide because, as you can see, 26% stamina recovery and you get 5.8 kilograms of weight carried. And I am a hoarder. I grab everything I can see. I am a literal loot goblin, so that is incredibly helpful. Now, I thought it would be funny to spawn in... Oh, here we go. Ow. Yep. I thought it would be funny to spawn in a Pseudo-Giant. As you can see, this might not be very funny. If you can time your jumps, sometimes you won't take damage. Though I am 100% dead right here. Hello. I definitely didn't time it. Now, honestly, if you're early game, I wouldn't bother fighting a pseudo giant, especially if you don't have any decent weapons. Now, you will come across some guaranteed pseudo giant spawns. For example, when you eventually do the miracle machine down here in laboratory X16, at the end, you'll be escaping through a tunnel, and in that tunnel, there will be a pseudo giant. Another place there will be is up here in Outskirts. You'll eventually get a mission that's a part of the main missions called Attack on Titan, and it's an attack on a pseudo giant that is up here. Looks like I got completely sidetracked again. Oh, hi. I was gonna say, let's start talking about artifacts again. Hello. Woo. All right, anyways, yep. Hi. So with the artifacts, the main thing you're going to want to do is before you craft these upgraded versions, you always want to get this low-end artifact that you are using as the crafting material to 100% or nearabouts. Because what happens is if you have like a 50% jellyfish and a 50% meat chunk, and you combine them together, it's going to give you a 50% empty. And then it's going to be really annoying because you're going to have to make another empty and get that up so that you can combine them together to get them at 100%. So always get these two to 100% before you craft the new one. So really quickly, I grabbed a couple of these. So let's go ahead and go to Empower, and let's see if we can get the jellyfish all the way up. So that's at 73, and there we go. Now it's at 99. And then for meat chunks, let's go ahead and see if we can't get that up. All right, so just as an example, I'm going to leave this one at 76, but let's go ahead and go to our artifact melter and click Fuse. And then down here, fuse, and then we're going to craft an empty. So go ahead and craft. As you can see, it used 2 uses of our artifact melter, and now we have an empty. And as you can see, since I didn't have both at 100%, this one starts at 88%. So we're losing about like 2% ballistic resistance, 3% explosive resistance, but overall, it's not too bad. All right, since I'm currently getting a radiate, let's go ahead and put this into the container. However, let's say you want to use it. You can't just like drag this and drop this on here. There is no attached to belt or anything like that. So how in the world do you use this? Well, first, we're going to need a different kind of container. So let's go ahead and head over to Yantar where the scientists are. Now there are multiple routes that you can use to get into Yantar. For example, we can go into Agroprom right here and then take this way up to Yantar. However, the way that I normally take it, especially if I'm down here in garbage, you can use this little teleport to wild territory and then just walk over this way and then boom, you will be into Yantar. So it's not that far. So let's go ahead and head up that way. Also, I love the messages in the bottom left. You might notice from time to time there's messages from different stalkers in the bottom left, and the best part about it is they are being truthful. So for example, this guy called Choreograph said, okay, got the jellyfish, maybe it's time to get out of here. So he got a jellyfish artifact. Now, if I were to go and find him and kill him, he will have a jellyfish artifact on him because he actually picked it up. So just keep in mind, you know, if there's ever an artifact that you really badly need and you see someone pick it up, I mean, hey, just watch out for their name. You might be able to grab it from them. And once again, this is why you look literally everywhere on this stump, random stump, there is some medicine just sitting there. All right, so now we're going to go through this way to wild territory. All right, now we're in wild territory. Now we will actually be back here in a bit because I'd like to show you guys some stuff about wild territory. But for now, all we're going to do is we're going to head this way to Yantar. All right, now we're here in Yantar. I was going to show you guys some stuff about wild territory, but I thought it might be a good idea to finish my train of thought first with artifacts before we go on a complete tangent. So here in Yantar, you will find over there is the miracle machine, and down here is the scientific bunker. Now this bunker has Professor Sakharov, which is where we will be buying these containers from. Now, if you are up north, for example, in Jupiter, there is another science lab right here that you can buy these from. It's a mobile science lab right next to Yanov Station. So here we are, the research facility. Just gotta open this door, open this next door, run in here, and here is Sakharov. He will slowly make his way over to us. He walks very casually. Okay, I did not expect this. So he has the lead-lined metal containers, but he does not have the other containers I was talking about. I wonder why. Maybe he just doesn't have it this early in the game? I'm very unsure why. Well, I promise you can buy them from him. I have definitely seen them in his inventory. I guess he just doesn't have them right now. But I guess I'm just going to have to spawn them in as an example. So, as I said, unfortunately, I did have to spawn these in. However, there are 2 different containers, the AAC, and then over here we have the AAM. The AAM is the better version because it can contain any types of artifacts. As you can see at the bottom left, it has beta particles, gamma rays, and neutrons. This one can only block beta particles and gamma rays. So, for example, if we open our empty real quick and then look at it, this produces beta particles and gamma rays, so it can actually go into this first one. So let's go ahead and put it there, and as you can see, it automatically equipped it to us. So right now, while we have this equipped, we get plus 23% explosive resistance, which is really nice. However, we are losing 17% stamina recovery, and I'm unsure why it says -0 satiety. I don't know if that makes a difference, but these bonuses and negatives are why typically people will run multiple artifacts. So for example, this empty, as I said, it's giving us minus 17% stamina, but if we had a Heart of the Oasis, that gives us plus 22% stamina recovery. So we've balanced it out by running these 2 artifacts. Now, as I said, early game, I wouldn't really worry too much about artifacts. You can run around and collect them all you want and put them in a stash for later. That is actually a good idea. That way, once you make it to late game, you'll have tons and tons of artifacts, but I wouldn't spend all my time focusing on them. Now, in my last guide episode, I did talk about how you can't visit the north without disabling the Miracle Machine, and this is what I mean. So currently, we have not gotten the Psy helmet from S.T.A.L.K.E.R, and we have not disabled the Miracle Machine. So let's try to go to the Miracle Machine right now. Well, this guy looks like he needs some help. Oh, it's a Merc. I was like, why is he shooting me? It's a Merc. All right, so as soon as I walk in here, yep, as you can see in the top, dangerous Psy emission levels, protection required to go further is what it says right there at the top. And my heart will start beating, and it's just going to keep beating. And as you can see in the bottom left, it is currently draining my Psy. As you can see, everything's starting to get really quiet. My Psy is starting to get lower and lower, and eventually I will die. All right, so we're back in Wild Territory, and one thing I'd like to show you is the path to get to Rostok through Wild Territory. Now, I, early on, also thought the same thing. Why don't I just easily go through Wild Territory to go to Rostok instead of having to go back down to Garbage and then run over here and then run down this long road just to get to Rostok? Well, here's the issue. There is a fire anomaly field right here. There are typically Mercs right here, Mercs up on this building right here, and over here, there is either duty or Mercs. So if you're a faction, such as loners like we are currently, we are enemies to Mercs. So it makes things quite a bit harder, but just in case you want to go this way, let me show you. All right, so as you can see, here we are. We are at the fire anomaly. Now, the trick to this is actually pretty simple. So if you're coming from Yantar and you want to go, now obviously we have to avoid that giant fireball. So let's just let it go over here and circle around real quick so it doesn't hit us. There we go. You can stick to this left side, like just hug this left side just barely. So we're on the left, right? Now we're running. I'm trying not to hit this fireball, but just stick to this left side, keep walking forward. And now right here, you see on this side, there is going to be that right there. And so typically what I do is I'll stick right here, and then you go over to the right side. So let's let this go around. And by the way, as you can see, NPCs don't get affected by this, and just run through right there, and we're good. So basically, you stick to the left side all the way through until this very end section right here where we go on the right side. As you can see, based on the messages in the bottom left, mercenaries are currently getting attacked, but they are here in Wild Territory, so let's watch out for them. So right around this corner, typically there are Mercs. Maybe they're only up in the construction building today. Let's see. Yeah, they're not here right now. Okay, that's good. Now, based on the messages, we do know for a fact mercenaries are here. They are typically up on the top roof of this construction building. So let's get up here real quick and see. Oh, we are getting shot at, I think. Or not. Actually, I have no idea. But it does sound like, yep, it's coming from the roof of the construction building. So there is a guy up here. Yeah, I think he's behind this wall right here. So let's see. Yep, there he is. Oh, I missed. There we go. He is now dead. We're getting shot at, I think, by another Merc somewhere down there. There is a Freedom right there. Okay, so we don't have to worry about them. And it sounds like a Mutant is coming up to try to fight us, I believe. Yep, there is a Fracture. Now, the issue with these guys is they are very fast. And for some reason, you have reduced damage on them. I'm unsure why. Oh, just be careful for him. He is very fast. Now, if you're playing EFP, you're going to probably think, like, what in the world? This guy is very easy. Because in EFP, he is, like, super slow. But in Gamma, Grok has decided to make them incredibly fast. But, all right, now that we've killed these mercenaries, we have two ways that we could go. We could go on this right side that typically has radiation in the building, or we could go this left side, which apparently has mutants this time around. Let's help these guys. All right, we're apparently not doing a whole lot to help them. All right, there we go. It said. All right, so real quickly, let's take this left side just as an example real quick. So we're going to run over here. Now, the thing about these vines is if you run through them, they will damage you. But if you walk like this, as you can see, we take no damage whatsoever. So you can just walk through them. Do not do this in EFP. This does not work in EFP. If you walk through them in EFP, you will get damaged. Well, we just took a lot of radiation going that way, unfortunately. It's just one of those days where for some reason there's radiation there. There's not always radiation there. All right, so we're back where we were. So instead of taking a left, you can actually come over here and take a right through this door. And then once we get through here, there will be some more of those vines, so be careful for them. They're up there. Sometimes this area is severely irradiated. Sometimes it's not. We're just going to avoid the vines real quick, run straight through here. And there we go. We're on the other side now. Now, here is the next area that can have mercenaries. Up inside here, there's a ladder going up right here. And up in here, there is typically mercenaries. So let's be very careful while we check. I'm trying to listen to see if I hear any walking, because that will normally tell me. But let's... Yep, I'm getting shot at. Yep. So there is a... Oh! Wait, is there a guy over there? Oh my god, there's a guy in the corner and I didn't even notice him. Holy crap, dude. He was hidden from me. Also, there's radiation in this area. Why? Why is there radiation right here? What is this evil practice? Let's run up here. Oh, be very careful. Come on. Be very careful. Dude, I'm severely irradiated. All right, there we go. He is dead. So let's go ahead and use our left alt to grab all the loot really quickly. This is a really smart thing to do. If you're in a stressful situation but you need the loot, just run up, left alt, and leave. If you notice anything in that split second that's really important to you, go back and grab it, but we just need to run. Now, to get rid of radiation, there are several things you can use. You can use, for example, cigarettes. You can use alcohol. Now, the best thing that you can actually use is one of these. These are anti-radiation drugs. However, I would only recommend using them if you have a ton of radiation like I currently do, because as you can see, you pop it, it will probably make you hungry, but it will immediately minimize all that radiation. And while I bandage, here we are. So we kill those mercenaries, we run through here, and this is the way to Rostok. So just run through this door, and here we are. All right, now we are back in Rostok. Now, the reason Rostok, which is the duty base, is so important is because early game, this is where you get a ton of quests. This is why a lot of times, if you're going to start a fresh playthrough, you typically want to be allied with duty. So choosing freedom will make your run a bit harder because a lot of the quests that freedom give, which are over here in Army Warehouse, a lot of the quests that they give are in areas that you can't go to early game, like for example radar or red forest. The Rostok is a great place for early game, so we can look at some, and yes, they will give you quests like this. For example, outskirts, we can't do that quest, but we can do deliver the package to Agroprom. And now keep in mind, since Rostok is so big, that quest task board does not cover the entire area, so we're gonna have to get a bit deeper into Rostok before we can check for quests again. Now you might have noticed my dude's vision is starting to go blurry. That's because I'm such low health and my head is damaged. So one thing you can do if you don't feel like wasting all this medicine, for example, my head is only a bit damaged, so it'd be a bit of a waste to pop one of these and then to pop Yatlin. No, we don't need to do that. In typically every major area, there is a plus sign on the map, which you guys should know is a medic. If you were to run up to him, you can just say, I need medical assistance, heal my wounds, and there we go. As you can see in the bottom left, we are completely healed. Now, it will make your vision a bit blurry for a second like this, which is quite annoying, but it'll go away pretty quickly. Now, as you can see, it is starting to get a little late. It is currently 6 p.m. in the game, and it's going to keep getting darker, but we don't have a headlamp. That is a problem because at night, the game gets quite dark. Now, one thing you could do is put this glow stick in your detector slot. So click 6, and then there you go, you got a glow stick. But this will obviously only light up your surrounding area. So what you want to do as soon as you can is buy a headlamp. Typically, you can buy them from any like major vendor. So for example, here I'm in Rostok, and here's Colonel Petrenko. I can go to buy, and then typically down here, yep, right there is a headlamp. So that's 3,600. Buy that. Once you double click it, it will equip it in the headgear slot, and then you click L on your keyboard, and there you go. You now have a headlamp light, which is really nice. Now, before we wrap this up, let me talk about where I normally put my base and my stash. So right here in this room is where the mechanic is in Rostok. 9 times out of 10, this is right here where I put down my workbench and my stashes and everything like that. Now, if you're wondering about stashes, what you can do is if you have a spare backpack like I do right now, you can right click, click create a stash, name it whatever, and plop it down on the ground. Now you can start putting up stuff in here. So there we go. I can put all that in, take it all back out. If you click take all, it'll put your backpack back in your inventory too. Now, one thing that I recommend upgrading as soon as you can is actually your backpack. This is one of the things that you should be upgrading immediately so that you can hold more stuff. So as you can see, this backpack will then become a camping backpack. Now, in order to get the camping backpack, of course, you need a recipe. All right, so this one right here has the camping backpack. I'm also going to buy this because this will allow me to make another thing that I'll show you in a second. So here we go. Just go ahead and read both of these. Now, hopefully you've been going around and doing a lot of quests, and by now you have found a basic tools in a yellow stash at some point. So first, let's look at these upgrades. So for example, if we go to equipment here, we can see this camping backpack. Now, obviously it requires sewing thread, which you can buy from just about any mechanic, durable textiles, and synthetic cloth. Now, these two are things that you would get from disassembling. You could disassemble armor, you could disassemble like stuff like this, these sleeping bag sacks. One thing you should be doing very often is if you find like broken flashlights or old headlamps, any of these stuff, just disassemble, disassemble, disassemble. The way that you disassemble is if you have a Swiss knife on you or a grooming kit on you. But let's say you wanted to, for example, disassemble a gun. It has like a good barrel. If you click it, you see required tools missing. Now that you have to go to a mechanic and buy one of these. This is a multi-tool. Buying a multi-tool will then allow you to right click, disassemble, and then there we go. We just broke it into multiple parts. Now, as you loot stashes, you'll eventually find several things you can disassemble, like these small radios you can just disassemble. You can disassemble these walkie-talkies. You see these pants, you can disassemble those. You see this tarpaulin, you can disassemble that. It'll give you military spec textiles. But if you're ever worried that you're going to disassemble something important, just always right click in details. So as we can see, if we do disassemble it, it'll give us cloth and durable textiles, but we can also use it as a material for bonuses in exosuit, heavy, light, medium, all these. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and just disassemble it because we need those durable textiles. Now, every now and then you'll see him sell durable textiles and stuff, but it's honestly a rarity. So most of these materials you're going to get are going to be from disassembling stuff that you find out in the open. Now, if you really badly need these textiles, one thing you can do is go to the major person in the area and you can buy stuff like this. So as you can see, that's very, very expensive. But if we were to buy these, I could disassemble them. As you can see, it gives me 2 mil spec, 2 durable, disassemble this. That gives me a bunch of durable and mil-spec. Disassemble this, a bunch more. So let's see, after disassembling all that, whether or not we can make the backpack. Let's see. Ooh, we actually can. So as you can see, we have enough. Go ahead and click craft. Now we got the camping backpack, which if you right click and go to details, you can see the next thing we can craft with it is the travel backpack. But once again, if I wanted to see the recipe, I have to buy the recipe. So we can't see what we need next until we buy the recipe, which is why I recommend, honestly, just wait until you have a ton of stuff to disassemble before buying the recipe, because it's kind of useless to buy a recipe if you can't even craft what you're looking for. Now, if your brain doesn't work very well like mine, one thing I'd recommend doing immediately is trying to upgrade your PDA to version 2, which is this Electronics Handbook Volume 2. So let's go ahead and buy that for 7,500. Go ahead and read it. And now if I were to open my workbench, go to crafting, devices, here is the level 2 PDA. As you can see, we need advanced tools, which we don't currently have, but if we were to craft this, the major difference is this will actually show where dead bodies are after we killed our enemies. Because if you didn't notice by now, we don't know where dead bodies are, and my brain doesn't work very good. So when I kill someone, half the time, I instantly forget where they are. So this is incredibly helpful. All right, so to end this episode off, currently it is 1900 in the game, which is 7 p.m. And let's say your guy isn't sleepy, which my guy isn't currently sleepy. See, I can't sleep at all. It says not tired enough to sleep. Keep in mind at any time, literally any time, you can just go ahead, take these sleeping pills. It'll instantly make my dude sleepy. Go up to it, and there we go. We can sleep till, let's do 7. All right, so we just woke up, and we are very, very thirsty. But as you can see, it is now 3 a.m. because we only slept 7 hours, because I completely forgot that Gamma and EFP work completely differently when it comes to sleep. So for example, in Gamma, as you guys saw, I set 8 hours or 7 hours, and I slept those amount of hours. Now, the way that it works in EFP is what time you set it to is the time that you're going to wake up. So for example, in EFP, when I put 8, it means 8 a.m. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed my ramblings, and hopefully this guide was at least somewhat helpful to you guys. In the next episode, we're going to be mainly tackling quests and going for stashes and seeing what we can repair and upgrade. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.